think Eustace is a great manager. I know when we last spoke, obviously Eustace was going out and Wayne Rooney was coming in.
Yeah,
and I remember,
I
remember giving you a bit of a warning saying he's not that good. And
my understanding is that Craig Gardner, the director of football here at St Andrews, had a big deal to play in this decision. He wants to see Birmingham play a more attacking brand of football. Eustace would respond and say, "We've scored 7 goals in 2 games. How much more attacking football do you want?"
We've achieved a lot in a short period of time, but we know there's a long way to go. We're trying to catch up on a decade of mismanagement and waste. But I'd like to make a few things clear right at the outset. First, Knighthead is all in, and we're not going anywhere. So any rumors that this is a short-term investment for us are false. We have a 10-year plan for the Blues. Every decision we make undergoes rigorous evaluation. We do this by turbocharging our revenue to increase the likelihood of getting promoted, and by changing the way we play. Possession-based, front foot, high press, because statistics show that teams that have over 50% possession in a game have the greatest probability of being promoted over time.
No, I think it's natural to me, and yes, now ultimately I'm the decision maker on everything, and the buck stops with me, of course, but that's something that I'm more than comfortable with and actually prefer, so really looking forward to it.
What are the hallmarks then of a Chris Davies side? Everyone says winning football, of course, first and foremost, but is there anything in terms of style, identity, philosophy that people can point to?
Yeah, I think for me it's a high energy, high intensity style of football, you know, to be very proactive, very dynamic in how we play, not passive in any way, you know, so the team to be very attacking, to try to be dominant, you know, to be a team that's, playing with an energy and a relentlessness that's very difficult for the opposition, and I think that's how I've always coached and how I've always seen football, and I think that's the type of football that we're gonna create here, and I'm gonna put in place here. So yeah, to attack, to be dominant, and to make sure that we're very organised, and the number one rule for all the best teams is always to be the most hard-working team, you know.
Very happy. I thought it was a dominant performance from the first minute to the last. Very proud of the effort of the group. We were on the front foot. We played, no fear football today. And
Who's legend?
You're right, mate.
One message to the Bluenoses for me.
Keep right on.
it's the Blues.
Come on.
Keep right on. Hey, Ian. Keep right on, baby. Woodster! Woodster! Woodster!
Come on, you Blue Boys! Just keep right on and shit on the Villa.
Keep right on.
What's going on, Bluenoses? It's me again, the boy in blue, back with another podcast, and we've got a special guest on. It's been 2 years since we last spoke, and it's Jake from the Rams Talk podcast. How you doing, son? How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you, Jay. How you doing, mate?
Oh, mate. I don't know, mate. I don't know. It's a strange one this season because obviously getting promoted, there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. I'm sure you've seen articles and like a lot of stuff on social media, what the owners are doing, you know, the new stadium. There's like so much ambition, and that side of it, mate, is great. You know, it's so positive, but the football inside, it obviously matters as well, doesn't it? And it's just been so boring, football pretty much most of the season, to be honest. We've got this certain style that we want to play, and I'm not sure if the owners are trying to implement this style of football. Like, they're like laying the law down saying, look, we need to play this way, because they're using a lot of like AI and analytics and all this stuff, and like statistics, and trying to compare it with other teams and breaking it down that, like, in theory, like, it should work to play that way to get at the top. But looking in from the outside, you know, what's your thoughts? But like, before we get into that, like, how are you anyway? Like Derby and your season so far, basically.
Yeah, brilliant. Honestly, for us, brilliant. I mean, we said at the start of the season we would have taken 14th or 15th sort of area. I mean, we stayed up on the final day last season. We were really poor last season, so scrape survival. And then this season, it was all about building and taking that next step. And Derby have done that. And I mean, like you guys would have seen yesterday, we're starting to gel a little bit. We've got a lot of new players. A fair few came in January, but it's been really good. It's been really good. But on the Blues, I think it's a bit of a weird one, because we were in obviously a similar position. We didn't have the same mega rich owners. We weren't building the massive 60,000 chimney stadium or whatever it is. But when we came up, we knew we were in for a tough ride. And like I said, we stayed up on the very final day, and we were just grateful to be in the Championship next season. From my perspective, I think you've done really well. I mean, I'm just looking at the table now, 11th, 14 wins, 11 draws, 14 defeats. Newly promoted side, you're not far off the playoffs. You're not a million miles away. I know you've not enjoyed the football too much, but surely as a team that was playing in League One last season, it's got to be a bit of a cause for celebration to be in and around the top half in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, and I agree with you. But the problem is, well, for one, I will agree with you on that one, like in a certain aspect, because I know what it's like to be a Bluenose. You know, we used to let down, we used to false dawns and promises. You know, we've had like real corrupt owners over the years, like, you know, so like, I've suffered in that respect, and more so my dad as well. You know, he's had a lot with Blues, but this is not the kind of comparison that I wanted to ask you as well. So when we got relegated, it was the season that we spoke about just off camera. So when we went down, you came up, didn't you? And then obviously you said that John Eustace had come mid last season, didn't he?
Yeah.
But at the time he kept Blackburn up. It was a season that we got rid of him, and it was a bit of basically fuck you moment. All the teams around us, it was just a Blues, typical Blues. Look, all the results went against us. Blues got relegated. He kept Blackburn up. He's obviously gone to you, and we've had 2 seasons, and I've just double checked. So on transfer market, we've spent 60 million on players. Yes. So does that justify, like, what you've just said there? How do you feel thinking where we are now to how much we've spent? And I know that money doesn't guarantee success. I know it doesn't. But when they're using this AI recruitment stuff and they're finding all these players and stuff, you know, surely that there's something in there to say that they're a decent player. So they're bringing these players in, and there's only one thing that I can think of, and it's down to the manager and tactics, because I think I think the transfer windows that we've had have just got better and better. Like, we've brought in some really decent players, but all season we've been awful away from home, mate. Even the game we won, it's just boring shit football. It's just dross. It's awful, and I hate being negative. I hate it because there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. You know, like you just said, you know, the ambition and everything else, and having like some decent owners, and like, no way does the performance on the pitch marry up with the ambition, mate. No way.
I completely understand, but I think for me, obviously, I don't know anywhere near as much as Birmingham's recruitment team hopefully should know, but just looking at the players you brought in, you talked about obviously the amount of money that you've spent, but a lot of the money you've spent have been on players that all play pretty much the same position, right? From my perspective, obviously Marvin Dukes, who I thought was unbelievable in the Bundesliga. I was surprised how poor he was yesterday. Obviously Jay Stansfield, he was a massive outlay in League One, and that's kind of sent shockwaves everywhere. You've spent a lot of money on a lot of players that all seem to play in and around the same place. You've not really built a team, whereas I think you look at Derby in a way, we've kind of invested a little bit in every position. You know, every single player we've brought in has cost a little bit of money, not a lot, but a little bit of money. And we've brought all these players in, and they've made a difference in different areas of the pitch. What I thought yesterday was, I thought you had some really good individuals, but I didn't think you had a good team. I thought they didn't really want to play together. They didn't really seem to have gelled with each other very well. And I mean, some players, you've obviously got Jamari Gray, who's should be at this level an unbelievable player. He was, you know, more bothered about doing little skill passes around the corner and things like that than actually developing play. I think from my perspective, obviously I don't know, I could be wrong. I don't watch Birmingham anywhere near as much as you and probably everyone listening or watching this. But to me, it looks like you've not built a team. It looks like you've gone out and gone, right, we need some great attackers, we need some great wingers, we need all these different players, and you've spent loads of money on lots of players that all play similar positions, and then you've ended up with a really unbalanced squad. And that's how it looked yesterday, because I thought on the transition phases, etc., when we were hitting you on the break, I thought you were all over the place yesterday. I thought the difference in quality between different areas of your team was very, very obvious. So yeah, I think that's it for me. You're right, 60 million is a crazy amount of money, and I can see why Birmingham. Yeah, I know.
Hell of a lot of money, and
it is.
And like I said, I just want to reiterate that money doesn't buy success a lot. And I totally understand that, but if you're throwing those kind of figures around, that kind of money, you want something of value to watch. I mean, I'm not in a fortunate enough position to go home and away, just because we moved out. Everything's expensive, everything's gone up, but all the fans that go home and away, mate, it costs an absolute fortune. Mate, we've been awful all season away from home, and even at home as well. It's just boring. It's just sideways and backwards, and it's just not threatening whatsoever. And that game yesterday, for me, that was probably the worst game of the season that I've seen us, because that was not a Blues side that I've seen, especially at the start of the season, where we was beating teams like 4-0, like your Millwalls and teams like that, and obviously playing against Leeds in the Cup, Newcastle last season when we was in League One. Now, these are the kind of games where, all right, we lost, but mate, I was so proud of the team because they gave their all. They was getting stuck in, the tackles. I mean, if you go to a Blues game, mate, and you just, even though we're losing, but the lads are just showing fight. Even if you're going in for tackles, mate, the whole stands are up. They're excited, and that's all we want. Just a bit of fight, a bit of passion. Doesn't matter if we lose. We just want to see players fight for the badge. And to me, seeing that fucking DROSS yesterday, it was just that he lost the dressing room, mate. To me, because that was all over the place. There was just the way we was passing the ball was so slow. The decision making as well. As soon as we have a bit of a point to attack, the players are stopping around the 18-yard box and then passing it back again. It's get the ball in the box, corners as well. I mean, Tommy Doyle as well, mate. Some of his corners and stuff. Did you see some of his corners he was taking? Couldn't even cross a ball, mate, into the box. It's just this is a £60 million squad. What are we doing? And the only thing I can put it down to, mate, is the setup and the manager.
I agree, but I do think, like I said already, I think the recruitment's got a lot to say about it, because you look at the players that you've brought in. You obviously brought the lad in from Djurgården who had an unbelievable scoring record there. You got Vicente. You've also got Kyogo as well. You got Dux. You got Stansfield. You got Jamari Gray. All of these players play in very similar positions. I just think if you bloat a squad in one position, people are going to be frustrated, right? Because people aren't going to be playing, and that affects morale. And I just thought, you are right. I don't think Birmingham looked up to it at all yesterday. They didn't look up for it. They didn't want the fight. They didn't want the battle. But when I look at the team and I look at the players, Derby's kind of front four, let's say, of Brewster, Schmodic, Brereton Diaz and Agyemang, they battled for 90 minutes. They battled and fought for every single ball. Brewster, there were a couple of times when he I think he tweaked his hamstring because he was tracking back inside his own box, battling for that ball. Did Damari Gray do that once? No. Did Jay Stansfield do that once? No. And I think that's the difference between the two teams at the minute is Derby are well up for it and seem to be fighting, whereas maybe you're right, maybe they're not playing for the manager, but if they're not playing for the manager, I think they're not playing for the fans either. So I'm never a fan of that.
Yeah, I'm the same, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've got a few injuries, well, haven't you? And I'm sure that you had some academy players yesterday, and again, not like in a disrespectful way, but surely if we're playing against a team and we've got that much money spent on the amount of players and having that quality, and you've just said, you've got a lot of injuries in academy players. I know they're still human beings; they can still play football, but the proof in theory is in the pudding to say we're up for this. And again, mate, credit to Derby yesterday, because what a win that was for you. I mean, that was, I'm sure you was buzzing and stuff, but on the other end, you got us, and it was just unacceptable, mate. It was
so
painful to watch.
Well, we had our third choice keeper on, and he didn't do anything. He had nothing to do. He just watched.
I know it's terrible, mate. But like, what I'm more like curious to know is your thoughts looking in from the outside of the season so far, and do you think that we should be further up the table, or would you think it's about right? Or, I mean, we've had a lot of. I mean, I've always been a realist, but you know, we have had comments. You know what social media is like. You know what X is like. In particular, like I go on there for a laugh. Really, some Bluenoses stay away from it. Like I totally get it. Me, I'm not bothered. You know, I'll just have a look and see what the vibe's like. But not just with Blues, like all teams. You know, and we've had comments saying that we're entitled and all this stuff. And like, what's your like honest take on it, Jake?
It does feel a little bit that way, I must admit. Obviously, not yourself, but some of the comments that I've seen, just replying to Derby fans, even myself, etc. It's a little bit strange. I mean, like I said, I've got your team from yesterday up in front of me, and I don't think it's that good, if I'm being perfectly honest. You know, you've got some decent players in there. You've got some players that have had good careers, but overall, as a squad, as an 11, I don't think it's that strong. I think, like I said right at the start, I think you've done pretty well. I genuinely think you've done pretty well. I think maybe Wrexham's quite ridiculous success has maybe made a lot of your fans think, well, that should be us. You know, that should be us pushing into that top 6. That shouldn't be them. They shouldn't be anywhere near that. You know, we walked the league last year. It should be us in that position. So I do think that maybe that's affected it. But go on, what do you think?
But they've got that bounce, and a lot of people don't like Wrexham, but I really like them. And one is because of they've just worked their way up. And you know yourself, you know, the Premier League, mate, it's always the same teams. It's always the same teams. Can't compete with the top teams. They've got this hold, and like it's just ruining football, in my opinion. And like you've got a team like Wrexham that's just got this morale, this bounce, and they're just going. If Blues don't make the playoffs and we don't make it, I'll be rooting for them. I really like them, and they've got an experienced manager. But like again, they've invested in championship-ready players, whereas we're like relying on this AI scouting system, and it's like they're not proven championship players. You know what I mean, Jake? And, and that's the difference. And they've got an experienced manager for one. He knows the squad, and they're playing a different style of football, different tactics. They're playing more direct, whereas we're playing from the back. And I'm sure that you've seen a couple of games on a couple of occasions where Blues have been playing from the back, and we just look so uncomfortable. I mean, there's been a few times where like my heart's been in my throat, mate, and we just look. We're passing the ball to defenders that are pretty much marked just outside the 18-yard box from a goal kick, and it's like, why are we doing that? Like,
did it a lot yesterday.
Putting that player under pressure for one, giving the opposition more of a chance to come onto the ball and potentially create a chance, and two, if we're doing it every single game and nothing's changing, it's giving like other oppositions like the chance that like we've already worked us out. You know, we're not changing anything, and we're not learning from like mistakes. And I think that's the problem with Blues at the minute, mate. We're not using it to our advantage and doing our homework properly and mixing it up, because you know yourself, you know, like you have to have a plan A, B, C. You have to change things around, and it all comes down to the setup. I think the squad's good enough, in my opinion. I know that you were saying it wasn't quite good enough, but like I have seen them when they do want to play, they can play. I mean, Coventry, mate, we battered them and we won 3-2, and it was a well-deserved win. And I've seen them play, and I know that they're not going to perform to that game week in, week out, because it's championship. You know, it's like any team can beat any team on the day. It's who wants it more. Lucky for us, it was you guys yesterday. You guys have had a great season as well. But it's just that for me, just not changing it up. And I mean, what's your thoughts on it? Like, is that the same with John Eustace? Like, does he change things around, formations, swapping players, adapting?
Well, that's what John Eustace has done, and that's why he's had the success he's had at Derby. I mean, last season when he came in, he joined us. We'd lost 9 games in a row when John Eustace came in. Horrendous. And we drew, I think just as John Eustace got announced, we had a game with an interim coach, Matt Hamshaw, who's just been sacked by Rotherham, ironically. And we drew 1-1 away at Norwich. And at the end, all the players came running over, celebrating like we'd won because we didn't lose. And that was how dire it was. Rock bottom of the league. We were getting smacked about every week. Eustace came in, tried something, didn't work early on. He changed it, and we fell into a system that worked. And we played that system until the end of the season, and he got 1.5 points per game, kept us up. Unbelievable. How on earth he kept us up, I have no idea. We were doomed. Our team was terrible. Almost all of our team from that season now play in League One and League Two. That's how poor that side was, and he kept us up. This season, we've invested a fair amount, probably 10, 15 million we've spent this season, maybe more to the 15 side, but we've spent, 15 million. And at the start of the season, we tried playing a certain way, didn't work. He changed it, that started working, and then we had a few injuries and it stopped working. So he's changed it again. And then we've brought a few more players in January. It worked for a little bit, it stopped. He's changed it again. 𝒒𝒐𝒏𝒆, for example, brought him in. We were trying to play the same football we were playing beforehand. Wasn't working. We were really struggling to control the ball. Yesterday, he changed it. 𝒒𝒏𝒆 was, I don't know if you noticed, he ran the channels all game. Ran the channels. Jonathan Panzo, he caused him a day of nightmares because every time the ball was coming through, he knew he was going to be running back towards his own goal. And he's very good at that. Usually it takes him 3 or 4 games to get to that point, but he is very good at that. And he works out, okay, here's the problems. You know, Bobby Clark, for example, he was sitting too deep in previous games. Against you guys, sat really high, and I thought he controlled Derby's game really well. So I think Eustace is a great manager. I know when we last spoke, obviously Eustace was going out and Wayne Rooney was coming in. And I remember... I remember giving you a bit of a warning saying he's not that good. And
I know, mate. But you know yourself, mate. I got a lot of love for you, and I don't mind Derby, mate. I think it's that Robbie Savage link. He was at my prime, mate. You know, when I was a kid. And, I think it's that kind of link. But yeah, it's only 2 teams I have, man. It's Wolves and Aston Villa, so you're all right. But yeah, I mean, like, what's the general thought with the Derby fans? Like, are you happy with John Eustace in comparison to the last few seasons? Do you believe that he could, even though like it might not happen this season, or it could, you got more chance of getting into the playoffs than we have? Do you believe that he's the manager to take you forward?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I don't think any Derby fans expect us to go up this year. I don't think we'll make the playoffs, personally. I think we'll finish 7th or 8th, which, again, is unbelievable, considering where we were last season. To finish in, 7th, 8th position and look towards next season is great. But what I like about Eustace is that he's not just improved the results, he's improved a lot of players. Agyemang, for example, who I thought was really good yesterday. He gave, I've seen a lot of debate about it online. I thought Clara battled really well with him, but Agyemang just had that upper hand. He just kept rolling him, turning him. He's really good in the air. He's really good with his feet. Start of the season when he came in, he looked like he'd never seen a football before. Like, honestly, it was coming off his shin, it was coming off his face, and kind of going everywhere. And you can see the work that Eustace and his team have done with him throughout the season, and that's what you want. You want to see that progression. I know you're not seeing that, and that's why you're frustrated. And I completely understand. I'd be frustrated too in your position. But yeah, Eustace has done a great job at that. Whether he's going to ever take us up, God knows. But at the minute, we're just enjoying it. We're a stable club. We're not going down. We'll be all right.
That's it, mate. I think the problem for Blues is, like, because of all the years of sorrows and letdowns, and like I said, we've had Carson Young, the early 2000s. He got done and jailed for being corrupt and money laundering, and we finally had some decent people now that are like transparent. Like, they're just so honest. They're funding the club. They're really authentic with the stadium design. There's a lot of thought going into things. He'll socialise with the fans, no problem. The amount of away games he's been to and brought the whole bar out for the away fans, the Blues fans. I mean, come on, mate, who does that? On that aspect, it's fantastic. But I think the problem is he's getting excited, and he done an open house, like a live podcasting, and saying he's not worried about the manager. And before the end of the season, and he's not worried and we'll be up there and stuff. And it's just not the case this season. And I think he's just getting a little bit too excited with I mean, I love him to bits, you know, like he's brilliant, but like it's kind of hyping the fans up, and then this is the kind of reaction you're getting from, you know, your social media posts and things like that, because people are getting frustrated with it. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like a tricky one, really. Like, we're in a good place in terms of ownership. You know, it's brilliant. It's just we spent a lot of money, and it's not like nowhere near matching the ambition behind the scenes, because that is phenomenal. It's just two totally different things, mate, this season. But like you said, we're not going down. Neither of us are getting relegated, so
I'm not.
Well, yeah, so 7 games. Fucking hell. But yeah, I really enjoyed talking to you as well, mate, and thanks for making time for me, because I know you got to get off and you got things on. Hopefully we can do another one, mate.
Yeah, sounds good.
Subscribe to Jake's channel, Rams Talk. And I'll Jake out as well. Any Derby fans that do watch it, and all you Bluenoses, keep the faith, keep right on, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers, Jake.
Thank you. Bye.
Later, mate.
Yes, Rich. All right, son. I don't know about you, mate, but I haven't stopped drinking since Tom Magnus took over. I put so much weight on. I'm going to need a bigger studio. Any ideas?
All right, sir. Gotta be Worcester Studio, Glow Studios. Yeah, man.
Big thanks to Glow Studios for sponsoring this video. Capture, create, and illuminate with Glow Studios. Capture your vision and bring it to life, boosting your confidence in front of the camera. From cinematic video and professional photography to broadcast quality podcast studios and dedicated presentation practices, everything is designed to elevate your content and amplify your voice, so it's seen and heard. Check them out at glowstudios.io and go with Glow.
Who's that? Me? Oh, yeah, you. Sorry. Hello. Wherever we go, we go.
Tony and Dad.
7-0 now, I'm here.